guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nicole Kaufman, and today I'm going to be talking about how I knew I was pregnant before taking that test, telling my husband about finding out that I'm pregnant and telling him about it, and then also kind of those early pregnancy symptoms, those first few weeks, what you'll experience and how to cope with it. Because it is tough, but it is possible. As I'm recording this video now, I'm at the end of my first trimester, which I'm very grateful because I'm finally starting to feel better. So there is hope for you. But I've been thinking back to this time, and it's just so crazy how long it is and yet how quickly it goes. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So when you are waiting to find out that you're pregnant, to take that pregnancy test, it is such a crazy time, at least for me. I'm like a huge overthinker. I overanalyze like every symptom, and I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Like, does this mean that I'm pregnant? Is this just PMSing? Did I just eat something weird? And so it's just like it's a really hard time when you're like desperate to find out, which is why I think there are so many of those videos out there, which I watched so many, like how I knew I was pregnant and just researching like what are the symptoms of early pregnancy before taking the test. And honestly, there is no like answer to that. I think that for me, I've noticed, and what I've found in my research is that symptoms of early pregnancy are very similar to PMS symptoms. And I think that it can be different for everybody, and it can be different even for yourself. Like, this is my second pregnancy, and the symptoms I had this time were different than last time. And PMS does change, at least for me. Like, sometimes I feel more bloated than other times. Sometimes I'm more emotional. So it's hard to know. Like, I just was overthinking like crazy. But I have my notes here in case I'm looking down. But so this time, I'll tell you a little bit about both. Like, I'll just mention some of the things I had last time that I didn't have this time. So for this pregnancy, some of the symptoms I had before I took the test, so that kind of week and a half before, was I definitely was more bloated and gassy. And sometimes, and I mean, I feel like definitely more. Like, I know that sometimes like PMSing can make me bloated, not always gassy, but sometimes, and like eating certain things obviously can make me feel that way. So the whole time I was like, did I eat something? What did I eat? What's going on? Is this normal? And just like those pains in your stomach, just like gas pains, I definitely noticed that. After I took the test, I became so bloated. I'll try and put a picture here. I literally looked like I was like 4 months pregnant, like, and I couldn't hide it. Like, I couldn't suck it in. So I literally was like, okay, this makes me look like super pregnant. People are gonna know, even though I like literally just found out. So gassy and bloated was definitely much more than normal for me. I do remember thinking like, this is much more than I normally have. So that was definitely a telltale sign for me. Another thing was like the emotional factor, the PMS mood swing type thing. I do have that normally. Like, I'll get really, really grumpy at my husband and be like, no, this is so important. We need to work through this. And then like the next day I'll get my period and be like, okay, I guess I was just PMSing. Like, guess it's not that important. But mood swings are definitely normal for me, but I felt like they were definitely more. And I didn't know, obviously they could be more if you have like a lot going on. So obviously we were excited and waiting to find out. I was very anxiously awaiting to find out if I was pregnant. And so I feel like that could make you more emotional anyways. So that was like my overthinking thought process. But I did notice it more. Like, we were having a lot of like arguments about like nothing. We were like he was definitely very patient with me as I was having lots of mood swings and feeling very emotional. Like, I would get so upset about nothing. So that I feel like was a little bit more exaggerated, but there have been times, depending on how much stress I'm in at the time of PMSing, that I'm that emotional anyways PMSing. So I felt like that was something I was just aware of. Like, okay, I'm definitely very emotional. This could be something. And then the last thing, this was definitely different for me. I was like really dizzy. Now I have POTS, and I'm planning on talking about how that comes into pregnancy in a future video along with some of my other health conditions. So I take salt pills every day, and that helps with my dizziness. But I did notice I was like a lot dizzier. I started adding like salt to my water and drinking that. Because I know that helps me with my dizziness. I don't necessarily recommend that. I recommend asking your doctor if you are feeling really dizzy, if that's something you can do, but that really helped me. And I remember for that one or 2 weeks, like before and then after finding out, I was just like really dizzy. So those were like my 3 like telltale signs this time that really stood out from like normal PMS symptoms. Last time I felt like I was a lot more noticeably tired. And I don't know, I joke like I didn't really know what it was like to be tired before becoming a mom. And so like therefore last time I was like noticeably more tired. This time I'm just like always tired, so it didn't make a difference. I am intentionally getting more rest now, like throughout my first trimester. But I didn't notice, like last time I remember literally being at my husband's parents' house in the evening. I think we were picking something up and standing outside the car and just being like, we need to go home. Like, I need to go to bed. And it was like 7 o'clock. And we actually had friends over the weekend. We found out friends over to stay the weekend that we found out, which was hard not telling them. But anyways, I remember just like being so grateful they were okay with watching a movie because I was just like exhausted. So being more tired is definitely something to look out for. The last thing, which I've seen a lot around, and I had this last time, I didn't notice it this time as much, was like boob changes. And I know like sore boobs is very common. For me, it was like itchiness. I noticed that last time, like the 2 days before taking the pregnancy test, it was just like unbelievable like how itchy I was, and like it was just different. Now I did stop nursing probably only like 4 or 5 months ago, so I'm sure there's still like hormones going on in my body with that, so I didn't notice that this time. But those were the 2 last time, along with other ones which I can't remember specifically. But yeah, this time for me, being bloated and gassy, being extra emotional, and also being dizzy were like 3 major signs. Okay, so the day of my missed period was going to be Sunday, and we had decided, me and my husband decided we'll wait till Sunday to take the test. But Saturday rolls along, and me being impatient and anxiously excited to find out was like, wait, why aren't we taking this Saturday? Like, why not? If it's negative, we'll take another one like Sunday. And so I literally, if you are taking it, especially if you're taking it early, like before your missed period, it's really recommended to take the pregnancy test like your first pee of the day, because that's when your hormones are the most concentrated. And so I woke up and I was like, I can't wait. Like, I want to do this. Like, why not? I can't go the whole weekend without knowing. And so my husband was on a run. So I literally waited for him to get back, waited for him to like come inside. And then I was like, so can I do this? And we like had this whole conversation. Meanwhile, I'm like, I literally have to pee really bad. So I did. And so last time when I took the test, I took it and then we kind of waited together and then looked at it together, and that was fun. But this time for some reason, I just like wanted a moment before like he knew. And I think I was just like, so I don't know why. I just felt different. I don't know if I could ever be the type of person, which let me know if you are this type of person, but to like find out on my own without telling him and then surprise him. Like, he knew I was taking the test, and like we both were like going into it together. So yeah, so I took the test, and we get those like, or this time I did get the like clear blue one that says like pregnant or not pregnant. And so it like gives you the little like countdown. It's like a loading thing. So 1, 2, 3, and then it's like loaded. And so I took it and I stood in the bathroom and I just kind of like took a few moments, took a few deep breaths, prayed a little bit. And then obviously this time it said pregnant. And I was like, I didn't know, like, I just don't know what to do in those moments. I'm like, should I like take a moment? Should I think about this? Should I just go? And I'm terrible at hiding my emotions. I'm terrible at hiding what I'm feeling. And so I literally walked out there probably with this like, hello, okay, I have the results smile on. And so then I was like, yep. And we were both like excited. He was actually excited, which is cool, because I feel like last time it was exciting, but he didn't understand. I feel like it's different as a woman. Like, you feel the baby growing within you. You feel all the symptoms. Like, I feel like I have a little bit more of like that nurturing component just built in. And so I can imagine more clearly like what it's like. But for him, I feel like last time it was really hard for him to like know what that meant and know like how to be excited. It's hard to like get your husband's really like involved in that like excitement. This time he definitely knew a little bit more because we already have a kid now, and so he kind of knows like the process. But also it's so early, so it's hard to like get really excited. So we were like excited, but like, okay, but this is so early, like let's wait to like really think about it. So yeah, it's that like hard period where you're like, okay, like this is exciting, but like we can't be too excited yet. So, I mean, my one friend always says, you've accomplished step 1. You made it through step 1. So like we can be excited about that. But yeah, so that was telling him it was exciting. And then the next few weeks, so I'll talk about some early pregnancy symptoms. So that Monday after was when I actually started feeling sick. So my missed period was supposed to be Sunday. I had all those little symptoms. The Monday after we found out, I started feeling a lot more nauseous and a lot more tired, and it only increased from there. That nausea, in my pregnancy, my worst symptom is not necessarily the throwing up with the nausea, but the aversions with the nausea that like make you want to like die. Like literally don't want to like think about food, see food, like nothing. And so it's really hard because you need to eat, and it's just like this constant battle of like, I literally can't even imagine thinking about food, and yet I have to force myself to eat. And so that's very exhausting. My next video is actually going to be about morning sickness tips. So make sure that you subscribe so you can see when that's released, because I'm going to talk about all of the things, 10 different things that have really, really helped me through morning sickness and just that awful nauseous feeling that follows you around everywhere when you're pregnant. But the nausea started, the aversion started. I definitely developed the main aversion that I have, which it makes me nauseous just even thinking about this right now, is to chicken. Like I literally cannot even think about eating it. I've gotten better now, like towards the end of the first trimester. I can eat, like if we're out, like we went to P.F. Chang's and they have like the spicy sesame or spicy P.F. Chang's chicken or whatever. And it's just like super flavorful and mixed in. Like, okay, I did that. But like if I could taste the chicken at all, like no, thank you. So yeah, the nausea, tired. It's just really hard in the beginning, and I feel like this time was harder than last time. One, because I had a kid actually to wrangle around, and you know, you're feeling super terrible and you have like an 18-month-old who doesn't quite understand, like, mommy's not feeling well right now, so like, play by yourself. Like, I don't know, he didn't quite understand that. So that was really hard, and I feel like I had to give myself a lot of grace as a parent, because there are things that like I don't normally do, like have him watch a lot of TV or feed a ton of like processed foods, that we just had to do more in this time. And it's hard because you feel kind of like a failure as a parent, but like I just had to keep reminding myself, like, this is a short time, like this is just to get us through these few months where I feel awful, and then like we'll get back into our routine. Like, this is not how I parent, but like this is how I am right now, and like it's okay. Like it's just hard when you have like personal like convictions and you've chosen to do things a certain way, and like everything goes out the window when you feel awful. So yeah, that is hard. And then the other hard thing too was like, you know, I literally for like at least a full month could not cook dinner. I probably didn't cook much dinner. Maybe I cooked 1 or 2 meals in the second month. So like those first like 4 weeks after finding out, so week 4 to 8 of pregnancy, I like couldn't cook. My husband would come home and I would go in the bedroom and lay in bed, and he would make dinner for himself and our son, and then he would like turn on all the fans and open the window so it would air it out, because I couldn't stand the smell. It was rough. So yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for his help, because cleaning and cooking were just really tough for me. It really helps when we went somewhere, because I think it's because I didn't have to think about like what I was making. I didn't have to like smell the food as it was cooking. Like it was just like placed in front of me and I could eat it. And I actually could eat more when we went places. So the past few weeks we've actually been going on a couple like weekend trips, and that has been so helpful to get through like these last couple weeks of the first trimester. So yeah, early pregnancy is tough. This time I felt a lot more overwhelmed than last time, and I think it's because I knew what to expect now. Like last time I had no idea. It was more of like a pure excitement, like I just was so excited for a baby, but like I didn't know what was to come in pregnancy and labor and the newborn stage. Like I didn't know what that was like, and now I do, and obviously it can be different every time, but now I know like what your body goes through being pregnant and what your body goes through in labor and postpartum. Like my postpartum journey was definitely really hard with, I was in PT for almost like a year afterwards because of like, you know, I have connective tissue disorder, and like my pelvis was out of whack, and it just caused a ton of issues. So I just feel like I was just like nervous, and all I was seeing was like the negatives and the sleep deprivation and how am I going to do this? I can hardly do this with one kid feeling sick. How can I have 2 kids? So I was just like really overwhelmed. Thankfully, the past few weeks, I went to one of my friend's baby showers, one of my closest friends, and that got me excited because like obviously that's like a joyous time and you're thinking about all the like joyful things of a newborn. So that was fun. And then my sister-in-law actually had a baby, so we were away with them, and I was like holding him and just thinking like, oh, like okay, like I can see the positives again. Like I'm getting excited now. So if you are in that early pregnancy time, like those first like 4 to 8 weeks of after finding out you're pregnant and you're feeling awful, like hang in there, because it does get better for most people. It does get better, and yeah, it gets better, and I feel like you also get better at coping with it, because in the beginning you go from like normal life to like suddenly you feel awful and you just don't know how to like cope with it. So I do feel like I got more into like a routine to deal with it for a while, and now I'm just kind of used to some of the symptoms I've been having. But if not, some of them have gotten better. So yeah, so that's kind of like my early pregnancy, almost like first trimester recap. Let me know if you are in that early pregnancy stage down below and what your biggest struggle has been. If you know of any ways to cope with it, but if not, I can try and encourage you. So make sure you give this video a like and subscribe so that you'll see that morning sickness video when it comes out next. And thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below.